This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by Newegg. Whether you're building a new PC or upgrading an existing one, Newegg has all of the parts and pieces that you need to get you going. Whether you're looking for a motherboard and processor, you're looking for power supply, or a new SSD, Newegg has it all, and they have daily deals like laptops and hard drives and RAM. And to find all of the deals and all of the products that are available, you can go to pilchpoint.live/Newegg. So, what have you got for us this week, Avram?
Wow. So today is 7nm Sunday. Although if you're watching this afterward, today was 7nm Sunday. And I call it that because AMD launched its new line of Ryzen 3000 series CPUs, which are 7nm. Its new Radeon 5700 and 5700 XT 7nm graphics cards, and the X570 chipset, which is their new chipset that you don't absolutely need to run the Ryzen 3000, but you need to take total advantage of it and get the highest speeds to the bus and all that. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack, and definitely the best place to read all about it is at my website, at my day job, at tomshardware.com. All of that being said, let's break it down for you a little bit. So AMD is way ahead of Intel in mass releasing 7nm products. Now, Intel has sort of touched on 10nm, and Intel's 10nm process is somewhat similar to the 7nm of AMD, but we still haven't even actually seen the 10nm laptops come out, except for a few really low-cost ones that were sold only in China last year. So Intel's had an ongoing drama about their inability to get chips with a smaller die size than the 14nm process they've been using for like 6 years or so. So AMD's new processors have a ton of cores. The Ryzen, the top of the line one for now, although there's going to be, I think, another one coming out in September. I think there may be another one coming in the near future that's even more, that we've heard may be coming soon. But right now, the top of the line is the Ryzen 9 3900X, which costs $500, and gives you 12 cores and 24 threads. But that's $500, so it's kind of expensive. Our favorite is the next spot down, which is the Ryzen 7 3700X, which is 8 cores and 16 threads. So we think, anyway, these processors support PCIe 4, which gives it significantly faster, possibly a significantly faster interface with your SSD. They are unlocked for overclocking out of the box, and they compete very well against Intel's Core i9 9900K and Core i7 9700K processors. Now, where does this kind of leave you? Well, Intel still has an advantage in clock speed and instructions per clock. So, on a lot of tests, the AMD products are, particularly gaming, the AMD products are not going to beat Intel. But in terms of you're getting more cores, and depending on what you're doing, perhaps productivity things, multitasking, um, things like that, you you may see faster, you may see better results, um, especially for the money when you talk about the Ryzen 7 3700X. Um, so these, and of course, another thing to factor in is they come with a cooler. So, when you buy the Intel high-end processors, they don't come with a good cooler. AMD comes with a really great Wraith cooler that is RGB and works really well. So
and
we really like.
and that's nice, because like the Threadripper, which is from AMD, does not come with a cooler. So that's an important differentiator if you're looking at the $500 for maybe a first gen Threadripper, or $500 for even the 3900. That price, they may be the same price theoretically, but the Threadripper is not going to come with that $70 cooler. So even on that particular product, it's still a better deal than their own line.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Threadripper is for definitely not for mainstream users.
Right.
These are your mainstream processors for regular folks, whereas Threadripper is probably for, I don't know, maybe you're doing some kind of crazy video editing,
It's
not normal video editing, like.
It's worked real well for the other studio computer for us.
Right.
We run the portable machine on a 1950X.
Yeah, so those, I mean, but here you're getting like a ridiculous amount of threads also.
And
you're getting 24 threads.
And the cooler.
And the cooler. So, and with Intel's chips, the 9900K, 9700K, you're not getting the cooler. And
right.
You got to figure you're going to at least spend, I don't know, 40, 50 bucks maybe on a good cooler. Mm-hmm. So, it adds the cost. Then moving along, their graphics cards, the Radeon RX 5700 XT and RX 5700, compete very well and actually get higher frame rates than NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 2060 and 2060 Super. The 2060 Super having just come out in the last week also. You get 9.9% higher frame rates on the 5700 XT versus the 2060 Super, and 11% higher frame rates on the 5700 versus the RTX 2060. So, you're talking about, especially with the RX 5700, you're talking about, a really good $350 card. Now, it's not going to do ray tracing, but it is going to give you really good 2K gaming and sounds like pretty decent 4K gaming. So, unfortunately, there are not a ton of ray tracing titles anyway right now. So, so I think a lot of people are going to gravitate to these cards that compete really well with NVIDIA's kind of mid-range 2060 series. Finally, there's a slew of new motherboards out that use the X570 chipset. We reviewed the X570 Tai Chi from ASRock, but that's just one of many, many, many that are coming from ASRock, ASUS, Gigabyte, all the major motherboard vendors. MSI are going to be there with X570 boards. But what you get with these is the ability to use the next generation of super duper high speed SSDs. We know right now that Gigabyte is coming out with a PCIe 4 SSD, and we know that we're going to see them also from the likes of Patriot Memory, and very powerful, but they're not cheap. The Tai Chi motherboard that we reviewed cost $300. So keep in mind that if you want to get the full power, all the features with your new Ryzen chip, you've got to get a fairly pricey motherboard.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can still buy a last gen motherboard, the X470 motherboard. They're still making them, and those will work with the new chips. They won't give you the faster bus speed, but they will let you take advantage of all the processing power.
Okay, so you lose some of the other capabilities, but the processor isn't going to be lessened. So if you're not using one of the faster SSDs or something like that, it's not going to hit you quite as much on a 470. But obviously, the 570 is going to be your better way to go for the future.
Right. Of course, when you think about considering that these SSDs really aren't on the market right now. I mean,
mm-hmm.
It's not a crazy idea to buy the last generation motherboard, get it cheaper, and spend your money elsewhere on the processor and on the graphics card.
Makes sense.
At some point in the future, I fully expect Intel will also embrace PCIe 4 because they'll need to.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, it's a very nascent thing that AMD is doing first. Sometimes AMD is the first to do something, and that means that there's not fantastic support for it across the board. I mean, AMD was the first to do multi-core consumer processors.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true. That's actually when I started drifting that way myself. Was when they started to do that kind of thing, and I mean, obviously my setups vary between both AMD and Intel, but they each have their market. They each have their thing that they're really great at. If you're trying to build a very big PC for way less money, AMD is oftentimes a way to go.
Yeah, at this point, we can't really say that these new chips are like much cheaper than their Intel competitors, but they give you more features, more cores for around the same price.
Right. Makes sense. And what is the availability on these things? Obviously, we know about them today, but
you can get them now.
Okay.
It's not like the Raspberry Pi where you have to wait for them to come in. You can get them now. They're all available on sites like Newegg, stores like Micro Center. You can get the video cards, you can get the CPUs, you can get the motherboards. It's all out. What's interesting is they chose for their launch day a Sunday, which for those of us who have to publish a review on that day are not very happy, but they really had to get it live on July 7th, 7/7.
Uh-huh.
So they announced these chips a while ago. They've had plenty of time to get the word out, to ship them places. So yeah, they're easy to come by.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. And obviously, you guys have a lot of content.
Yes, tons more than I could describe in any reasonable period of time. We have like 15 pages of benchmarks on these products. So come to our homepage, tomshardware.com. You will see exactly how the top two CPUs, the 3900 and 3700X, 3900X and 3700X, compare to themselves and to their Intel competitors. You will see how the new Radeon cards compare to their competitors and predecessors, and you will see how one of the many new X570 motherboards does. So check it out. It's the top of our homepage at tomshardware.com.
Very cool. Well, as always, Avram, I appreciate you bringing the topics that obviously are way too technical for our team to dive into. Testing a processor is way different than testing LED bulbs and things like that. So.
Yes, but the LED bulbs look so much prettier.
Fair enough. Although if the processor has an RGB cooler on it, I mean, little bit,
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
they
of
can
both
bring the
sides.
style with the RGB cooler.
Well, always appreciate it, and I can't wait to look at some of these benchmarks because, as the viewers are noticing, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty in here tonight, and I think it's time to update the PC, the streaming PC. So it's going to be time to start looking at these benchmarks and decide which way to go. So, as always, thank you much.